Vos émissions préférées, elles sont toutes sur Radio Grand Lac.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Bonjour, chers auditeurs, et bienvenue à Your English Weekly sur le 92.1 FM, l'émission qui vous présente le meilleur de la langue anglaise et bien sûr avec des nouveaux vocables de la semaine. Donc, je suis votre animatrice Sinead et je suis ravie d'y être ici aujourd'hui avec vous. Vous pouvez nous trouver à Your English Workshop à Aix-les-Bains et le revoir. L'épisode aujourd'hui est du niveau A2 B1 avec un contenu différent qu'avec des gens qui ont partagé notre matinée, qui sont là avec nous ce matin aussi. Donc, tout au long de cette émission, il y aura un jeu de mots qui va être donné par Tim, avec bien sûr un conseil linguistique par moi-même. Et bien sûr, nous avons tout ça sur Your English Weekly sur le 92.1. Vous pouvez réécouter cette émission sur YouTube. Good afternoon, lovely listeners, and welcome to Your English Weekly, the show that brings you the best of the English language between culture and entertainment. And today I'm in the studio with Tim, like every week. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Sinead.
And of course, I've got two special guests who are here with me on a semi-intensive course to learn and improve their English. We've got Monique from Paris with Dominique. Welcome to Your English Weekly. Okay, I'm your host, and I'm thrilled to present Tim's subject today. Tim, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about my recent visit to Edinburgh.
Okay, so stay with us tuned, and we will be here to talk about that now in a few seconds. So, Tim, before we start, can you tell us what our pun of the week is?
Sure. So, okay, I tried to make a belt out of watches. It was a waste of time.
So I tried to make a belt. So a belt is something you put around you.
Your waist, yes.
Yeah. Out of watches. So if you want to put something around you with a watch, it's a wrist.
Sure. But a belt in French is?
Une ceinture.
Yes. So ceinture of watches.
Okay, so a waste of time.
Of course.
I got that one today. Not bad,
good.
bad. Good. And I'm going to talk to you about a dish that Dominique and Monique cooked this morning with a little bit of the history of the Thai food. So the dish that was cooked today, what did you cook with them today, Tim?
We did a chicken dish with cashew nuts.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
Okay,
stir-fried.
Stir-fried.
Yes.
So you can tell us how we make that after.
For sure, yes.
Okay, well, let's talk about Edinburgh to start with.
Well, indeed.
I think we've got a few words that our listeners are going to learn today.
Yes, there's a few words. There's historic sites.
So, donc, les sites touristiques.
There's fascinating.
Donc, c'est fascinant, ouais.
That's in French. There's also gravestones.
Okay, donc the gravestone, c'est le pierre tombale.
There's wizards.
Wizards. What are wizards? Wizards are the people who make little spells on you.
Yeah, what are they in French? Wizard.
What is a wizard in French? C'est un wizard. I don't know.
Wizard.
I'll think about it in a minute.
There's the orphanage.
Yeah, which is an orphelinat, ouais. A tale. You're going to tell us a tale.
A tale, yes.
Which is un conte fait.
Footsteps.
Alors, walk in the footsteps. So if you walk in the footsteps of somebody, you're going to tracer ses pas. Okay. And a wizard, c'est comme un magicien.
A magician,
okay?
yes, exactly.
A little bit like a magician.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I just thought I'd share this trip with you because it was recent and it was very special.
Okay.
It's beautiful with lots of historic sites and it's a fascinating place to visit. it has inspired many great poets, writers, and filmmakers.
And this is in Edinburgh itself,
Yes,
is it?
that's correct.
Okay.
There's a famous author you might be aware of by the name of J.K. Rowling.
Of who does not know J.K. Rowling?
Exactly.
The most sold book in the world, Harry Potter.
Indeed. So this fictional character,
Who? Harry Potter?
Well, the whole surrounds him, like in the films. A lot of their inspiration came from the architecture in Edinburgh, and the names came from the gravestones you find in Greyfriars. Greyfriars graveyard.
Graveyard.
Yeah, and then there was an orphanage behind at one point in Edinburgh there was the wall. They had an exit to the city, so it was kind of guarded, and now it's obviously expanded. And there was an orphanage there, and now it's a private school.
Okay.
And the orphanage, the architecture inspired her to
create
the school in Harry Potter, where it's all. It looks very magical anyway. So
of course it is.
So Edinburgh took me for that. It really had a great impact on me, just how pretty it was. I visited the castle, and that's absolutely stunning. It's one of the oldest fortified places in Europe. It has a long history as a royal residence, a military garrison, and a prison and fortress.
Okay.
And when you climb Castle Hill, you walk in the footsteps of soldiers, kings and queens, and even the odd pirate or two.
Okay, nice.
A fascinating story I heard was there's a chapel there called St. Margaret's Chapel, and you can get married in there. But if your name is Margaret, you can get married in there for free.
Okay, otherwise you have to pay.
Otherwise you have to pay about £25,000.
Oh, really? Oof.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're better off being called Margaret then.
Exactly.
Okay, fantastic.
There we go. So how about you?
Well, today I thought it would be nice to talk about the dish that we cooked this morning, which was called, Jim?
The chicken and cashew stir fry.
Chicken and cashew stir fry. So, listeners, some of the vocabulary we'll hear today: cashew nuts, which is les noix de cajou. You will hear about culinary traditions, so culinaire, des traditions culinaires, an overview, which is an aperçu, and the roots are the racines. You will hear about the traders, who are the commerçants. You will hear about stir fry, which is le friture ou faire frire. You will hear about spices. Listeners, you should know this word. We've already seen it, which is les épices. You have a mix, which is a blend of, donc un mélange. You have sweet, which is sucré. You have sour, which is acide. You have salty, which is salé. You have flavors, which is des saveurs. Okay, so now we need to remember all of these new words. So let's continue. So a little bit of the history of Thai food. So we all know Thai food comes from Thailand, but does its background come from there? So the culinary tradition is influenced by its geography, of course, with its history and culture. And we have influences, many ancient influences that came from all sorts of places, but the roots are from Siam, which is neighboring cultures like China, India, the Khmer Empire. Early Thai cooking incorporates rice, vegetables, and freshwater fish. They are usually the basis of the food. The Chinese influence was the immigrants or the traders. Traders, c'est des commerçants. And cooking techniques to Thailand. This influence is reflected in the Thai curries and the use of coconut milk. Donc, le lait de coco. Exactly. We have then, of course, Indian influence, the same thing, the traders. They brought spices, curry, and also techniques to Thailand that added influence to their culinary traditions. And then during the colonial era, we had, which was the 16th to the 19th century, we had European influences at that moment. And those European influences became essential into the Thai cooking too. I don't quite remember what they were. Maybe some chilies?
Yes, from the Americas, the red chilies.
From the Americans, let's say that. Okay.
Well, South Americans,
Yeah. And then we had the modern era, which is the 20th century, of course, where the Thai food became popular due to people traveling and the immigration that people left coming to Europe, to America, and to different places. And of course, the Thai government continued to promote this. And therefore, the cuisine or the food led to the growth of Thai restaurants around the world. So what are some of the famous Thai dishes, Tim?
Green curry, for example.
So overall, the Thai food is a blend of sweet, sour, salty, and spicy flavors. Mm-hmm. And with this very big focus on fresh herbs, aromatic spices, and of course, all of this is the idea is to balance the dish, équilibrer le plat. So this has become worldwide, and people across the world like it, spicy or not. Mm-hmm. But they usually do love their food. Well, listeners, we've got 2 minutes left. And so to leave, before we finish, do you have 1 minute to explain just quickly how we can make our cashew?
Oh, the chicken and cashew stir fry.
Yeah.
Yes, so you need, I'll just do quick. You need some chili paste, which you can find in most Asian supermarkets around Aix. You also need some good stock, chicken stock.
Okay, stock. What is stock?
Stock is a bouillon.
Le bouillon. Exactly.
And you need some oyster sauce.
Okay. Donc, oyster sauce in French, c'est une sauce de huître.
Sauce de huître, yes. So that will be your base for the sauce. So 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of the stock cube.
For how many pounds of chicken?
You can use around 300 grams for 2 people.
Okay, perfect.
And then you can use chicken thigh or the aiguillette, the tenderloin of the chicken. Then you can add 30 to 50 grams of cashew nuts and also some spring onion and half an onion, normal yellow onion.
Okay.
And you have to fry up the onion first with some oil and then add the chicken, fry that for a bit, add the sauce, add the spring onion, close the lid for a few minutes, let it cook, and then test it at the end, and then add the cashew and the chili. I forgot to mention.
And you adjust it a little bit with the...
Yes, you can adjust it as you go along with the spice.
With the spice, more spicy
more
or less
chilies
spicy.
Or less chilies, yes.
Okay, good.
Serve it with some rice.
Well, thank you for that, Tim. Fantastic. Well, listeners, before I finish, my tip of the day, which is what we did today with Monique and with Dominique, is you should apply what you learn. Absolutely, listeners. When you have learned something like a recipe, try and do it in English. It will help you to reinforce the knowledge, the words you have used, the words that you have learned, and reusing them and understanding them critically makes a connection between what you have done, what you have said, with the pronunciation, of course, which leads to a more comprehensive understanding, with remembering the vocabulary, of course, because as I always say, the vocabulary is extremely important. Well, learners, I hope you have learned a lot from us today with Tim and you have expanded your vocabulary. You can listen to this podcast again on Radio Grand Lac, 92.1 FM. Well, you can join us again for next week with Your English Weekly, which airs from 12:15 to 12:30. And of course, it's the perfect dose of the English language to brighten your day, and of course, all that with the new vocabulary you need to apply. Well, listeners, that's all from us today. So I wish you a great day. Bye to you from us at you.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Radio Grand Lac.